The clock is ticking towards July 30. There's so much happening and it's getting harder to keep up. Here's a summary of what's happening right now. Nelson Chamisa is going back to the streets to march against ZEC. The military has spoken out on the election. NGOs are accused of stealing money and VP Chiwenga is campaigning harder than anyone else in ZANU-PF. But where do we even begin? Well, let's start out on the streets because this is where Chamisa and the MDC Alliance are going to be this week. The party is marching against ZEC yet again. The last march was just under a month ago. Last time the MDC marched, they delivered a list of demands to ZEC. They say ZEC hasn't addressed these issues. There are two key demands Chamisa and the MDC Alliance are marching for this time. First, they say we got an incomplete voters roll. They also want the roll with pictures. Two, they want to be involved in the printing of the ballot. They believe that ZEC is using a special ballot that moves your X from Chamisa to ED. On Twitter, Charles Winder said everyone voting for Nelson Chamisa must bring their own pen, as ZEC has imported a pen that will be used to rig. Earlier in the week, Paul Mangwana said it is only the MDC that believes in magic that marks put on a ballot will move. We're not magicians or don't believe in voodoo politics, he said. As we keep telling you, Zimbabwe politics will truly make you dizzy. But this is a message to ZEC. However strange this looks, there's only one way to make all of this go away. Just let the opposition check out the ballots. Yes, the law doesn't provide for this, but it's not illegal either. It's not always about what the law says. It's about transparency. And whatever happens in the march, let's hope it goes down peacefully, and let's hope that this time, ZANU-PF youths don't try another counter-march. There's so much more to talk about. So the army came out to declare that they have nothing to do with this election. No, we haven't deployed our boys and girls to the rural areas. And yes, we will respect the constitution, whoever wins. How important was this announcement? Very. Remember back in 2002, the army came out and basically said, no, we will never salute Trangirai.
To this end, let it be known that the highest office on the land is a straitjacket, whose occupant is expected to observe the objectives of the liberation struggle. We will therefore not accept, let alone support or salute anyone with a different agenda that threatens very existence of our sovereignty, our country, and our people.
The MDC demanded that the army make this statement to say that whoever wins, they will salute. Well, the army did just that. Chamisa welcomed this statement, but he said it had to be backed by action. Still, some are in doubt. They say the statement wasn't enough. They wanted more. They say the army should have used the exact words, "We will salute Chamisa if he wins." Maybe the army spokesperson needed to chant a few MDC slogans to convince them. Not gonna happen. But as Chamisa says, we look to our men and women in uniform to stick to their word. And while we were digesting all of this, the US cut off funding to some human rights NGOs. Well, we're not going to use the term stealing. The US Embassy was a bit more polite. They used the term diverted, not steal. Some say the timing by the US is wrong. They say the US aid shouldn't have done this so close to an election. Well, quick question. If your money was being, let's say, diverted, would you allow anyone to keep doing it just for elections? Hell no. And was this a big surprise? Nope. Let's face it, we all know that this stuff happens in NGOs. We've seen the lifestyle that comes with being a director at an NGO. The trips, the forex, all those 4x4s parked outside of the offices. The only surprise is that the sponsors have taken this long to act. But what we hope is that this scandal doesn't hurt all genuine, hard-working human rights NGOs that are doing great work out there, all the guys holding government to account, all the groups defending victims of abuses. We've learned a lot from this. Not everyone who claims to be fighting against corruption actually hates corruption. Who's the hardest working man in ZANU-PF right now? VP Chiwenga. Nobody in the leadership is holding as many rallies as the former CDF. Harare South, Harare North, Epworth, Hwange, Cholocho. He's even gone to campaign in places we've never seen ZANU-PF before, like in Arcadia and Belvedere. This all seems to be part of the plan, however. Chiwenga does the heavy lifting, while the president does the diplomacy and carries on with government business. This way, ZANU-PF is trying to cover all the bases. Speaking of the president, he was back on the campaign trail for the first time since the explosion. His security at rallies has been increased. Attendees are now going through security checks. There are now CCTVs on the main stage, drones, designated exit points, the whole works. The police are yet to give us any new information on the investigation. We still don't know who was behind it and why. We can only hope to get some answers soon. The environment. This isn't something we're hearing a lot of in this election. We're obsessing more about the ballot, jobs, and the voters' roll. But when this is all over, there are realities we still need to live with. Look all around us and you'll see how badly we're doing in terms of protecting our environment. And now that we're open for business with a lot of mining coming in, are we thinking about what this means for our environment? The laws that are supposed to protect our environment are either inconsistent or are being ignored. We see this across Africa. Because of the problems within our economies, we rush to appease big foreign investors and voters at the expense of the environment. Let's give you a number. 327,000 hectares. That's the amount of forest cover we are losing every year. This is due to people cutting trees to use for curing tobacco. How big is 327,000? Well, put it this way. The whole of Harare is 96,000 hectares. This means we're losing forests that are 3 times the size of the capital city every single year. Will we still have forests in 20 years? The population in our cities is growing, but ZESA isn't keeping up. A lot of these new settlements don't have power, so people cut down the trees. That's more forest being lost. And if it's not the trees, it's water. A few months ago, Pastor Ivan made a video on the quality of water we are drinking and bathing in.
No, look at this. Just look at this. Look at that. Look at that. That is straight from the tap. City of Harare, please guys, this is a health hazard.
It's pretty hard to look at this stuff, let alone drink it. The city of Harare City Council has to use extra chemicals to treat that water. Other towns only use 2 chemicals. Harare has to use up to 7. The problem lies with us. Our failure to protect the environment and the sources of our water. Our water bodies are affected by stream bank cultivation. Mines and factories are dumping waste into rivers. Invasive species are not being attended to. Let's break this down. You've seen this hyacinth plant. It's a massive problem on Lake Chivero and surrounding water tributaries such as Manyame catchment area and Gwebi River. These are supposed to be wetlands, but we've turned them into housing estates. Our producer managed to take several drone shots and you can see the damage done over the past couple of years. These are the facts. When a river is captured by such plants, the pond succession process takes place. Gradually, the plants colonize the water. The dam turns into a marsh and into a swamp and ultimately into a wetland. We are losing our water sources. Our factories are practicing bad industrial policies. They are pumping waste into our rivers and nobody is watching them. Squatter camps are growing because land barons are untouchable. This wins votes, but these places are polluting our dams and our underground water. Yes, your borehole water is not as safe as you think it is. Or not anymore. It's either we keep living this way, or we start respecting environmental laws that protect us and the future. Our wetlands are under threat. We're working on a documentary and a digital series as part of our continued efforts to raise awareness. If you would like to get involved, send an email to the address at the bottom of your screen, because something has got to give.